Slowly unlock your fingers and place them over eyes for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Now let us express our gratitude, masters, to all the masters, to our body, to our breath, the soul, and gratitude to Mother Earth. Now, thank you so much for being here. So without any delay, let's go into our adventurous book, the Celestine Prophecy. We are going to continue the second insight. So in last session, we got to know how James met Dobson. So he took flight, and in that flight, he met Dobson and got to know about the second insight, glimpses of second insight, and they both connected with each other. They both planned for how to pursue the further insights. So what's their plan is. So they both exchanged their hotel name, the place of their stay. It's about 2 miles away from each other. Right. So when James asked about the plan of Dobson, so Dobson said he first want to visit the American embassy and tell them why is he here, just for the records. So just for the record. Later, he is going to speak with as many Peruvian scientists as he can. When Dobson asked about James' plan, so James said he is not having any plans, but thought to accompany them. So accompany him means Dobson, because he is very new to the place. James is very new and we don't know anyone. Also how to pursue. So he thought, James thought it's better to accompany Dobson. So plane landed, they both picked up their luggage and decided to meet at Dobson's hotel. So James called up a taxi and noticed, and when he got into the taxi, he noticed that another taxi was following him, means following his taxi from much time. So a rush of nervousness filled in his stomach. So he asked the driver, who could speak English, not to go directly to the hotel, but to drive around for a while. He told him he was interested in sightseeing because he can't express his whatever it's happening in his back, he can't express to the driver. So because he is not having any clarity about that. So the taxi driver did whatever James asked for. So still he noticed that James noticed that the taxi is still following him. So he's thinking in his mind, what was this all about? So James thought. So when he arrived at the hotel, James told the driver to stay in the car. Then he opened the door. So opened the door and pretended to be paying the fare. So the taxi following behind them pulled to the curb from some distance away, and the man stepped out and walked slowly towards the hotel entrance. So again, James jumped back into the vehicle because he is very nervous and he don't know what to do. And again, James jumped into the vehicle and shut the door, telling the cab driver to drive on. So the man from the other taxi got out and watched them until they were out of sight. So the cab driver was doubting James' behavior because the driver didn't notice what's happening in his back. So he because James did not share what is happening behind, he simply gave instructions. So then James said sorry with a struggled smile, because he can't act. So inside he's feeling nervousness and he can't smile. So struggled to smile and said he decided to change his accommodation and gave Dobson's hotel address. Although part of him wanted to go straight to the airport and take the first flight back to the States. So what he did is, a half block short of his destination, he said to the driver to pull over and told him to wait. So there he could see the streets were filled with people, mostly native Peruvians, but here and there some Americans and Europeans. Something about seeing the tourist made him feel safer. So when he was within 50 yards of hotel, he stopped. Something was not right. Suddenly he watched gunshots rang out and screams filled the air. And screams were filled the air. This is all happening near the Dobson's hotel. So Dobson was running towards James and was panicked. Figures behind him pursued. One fired his gun into the air and ordered Dobson to halt. So then Dobson noticed James and yelled at him to run, James, run. So James started to run at an alley in terror. Then he saw a vertical board fence is about 6 feet high, and somehow he climbed it with a great effort. So when he was about to get down on the other side, he looked back and saw Dobson was running desperately and more shots were fired at him. He stumbled and fell. He continued to run, so James continued to run blindly. For a moment, he thought he heard footsteps behind him, but he did not dare to look back. He entered into the next street, which was also crowded with people, seemingly unalarmed. He walked horrifiedly into the street to fade into the crowd, thinking about Dobson. Why did he run? Was he killed? So all these thoughts was running in his mind about Dobson, and he is not aware of what's going on with Dobson and with him. So wait a minute, he heard a voice from his back. As soon as he heard the voice, James started to run even faster. But someone grabbed him from behind, again asking him to wait. So he turned back and asked, "Who are you?" James questioned him tremblingly. "I'm Wilson," said the other person. So Wilson assured to James that he will be safe with him and asked him about the people who are chasing him. So who are there? So Wilson asked. So James didn't reply. So Wilson said, "You are here for the manuscript, aren't you? And I guess the man who was with you is for the same reason?" So James asked Wilson the reason behind his help. So he said, without giving any answer, so James was doubting him because I don't know anyone in that country. And also he was doubting because he saw some people who were chasing Dobson. So he wanted to know who is Wilson is. So James asked Wilson the reason behind. So why you said that I will be safe with you, but why you're going to help me? So why the reason behind your help? So you won't understand this, but I was standing there. So this is Wilson words. You won't understand this. I was standing there at the window and thoughts about an old friend came to me. He is dead now. He died because he thought people should know about the manuscript. When I saw what was happening in the alley, I felt I should help you. James looked into his eyes and had felt that he is absolutely truthful with his words. So they both decided to go to a safer place in a jeep. So James saw the jeep. When James saw the jeep, it's filled with full of the back seat is full with foodstuff. Filled with foodstuff. On the way, Will. So Will, it's a short form. So Wilson said to James to call me Will. So he continued to call Will. On the way, Will asked how he met Dobson. He asked James how. So tell me your story. So how you met Dobson. So James explained everything about their conversation went between him and Dobson, and also mentioned about the missing priest who knows about the manuscript. So Will looked sad. So as soon as James raised the words, James shared about the priest. So Wilson looked sad and said, "It's Joe's." So he was the friend I told you about, the one who was killed. He was he was he was adamant that as many people as possible hear about the manuscript. He was murdered. We don't know why, by whom. His body was found in the forest miles from his house. But I have to think it was his enemies. Could be from the government or from the church. So here, remember the last Dobson said to James that government, and also Charlene said the government is trying to suppress the manuscript, and also church is not going to support. So could be those people. So Will asked James that did Dobson explained about the first two insights, because James said that he shared about the two insights, what the and all the conversation went between him and the Dobson. So James was asking Wilson was asking James whether he understood the two insights. So James said he got to know first insight from his friend Charlene and the second from the Dobson. Also shared about the Charlene. So how he got to know about the first insight. So did you understand the second insight? Will ask James. So Will again question, do you understand that chance encounters often have a deeper meaning? So James said, his whole trip is an example because he connected each and every coincidences has happened, and he is aware of his coincidences. He got a dream and how he took flight, all his trip. So that begins and will continue. That begins to happen once you become alert and connected with the energy. So by saying this, Will stopped his jeep near a modest frame house. This house belongs to his friend, the man who is very powerful and secretly supportive to manuscript. So they both were traveling in the jeep and they were discussing about the insights. So this is how Wilson asked James whether he understood about the two insights. And on the way, so their discussion went on, and somehow at some place Will stopped the jeep. So that house belongs to Will's friend. So Will introduced his friend to James and said he will be taken care by his friend. So don't worry, James. So he introduced his friend and said he is going to take care of you. So Will shared about James to his friend. Will and his friend started conversation. So they both started conversation, and James kept on listening to their conversation. So from their conversation, James got to know that Will is behind the ninth insight. James was curious to know all the insights from Will. So he started questioning Will how he got to know all insights. So Will said, there is part of the manuscript that has never been found. There were 8 insights with the original text, but one more insight, the ninth, was mentioned there. Many people have been searching for it, but we don't know where to find it. So he said he needs to find the ninth insight. James asked how he is going to find them. Will smiled and said, the same way Joes found the original 8 insights, the same way you found the first 2. So in the same manner, I'm going to found the ninth insight. And he continued, if one can connect and build up enough energy, then coincidental events begin to happen consistently. I repeat this, masters. If one can connect and build up enough energy, then coincidental events begin to happen consistently. James was curious about how to build that energy because he is very, very much interested in insights. So Will explained, well, the remainder of the insights represent the answers finally coming back. But they are not just coming from the institutional science. The answers I'm talking about are coming from many different areas of inquiry. The findings of physics, psychology, mysticism, and religion all coming together in a new synthesis based on a perception of the coincidences. We are learning the details of what the coincidences mean, how they work, and as we do, we're constructing a whole new view of life, insight by insight. So when we learn, when we adopt these insight masters, then we are developing, we are evolving. So we will evolve. That means constructing a whole new view of life, right? So as James was very much interested in insights, he asked Will to explain all insights before he leaves in search of ninth insight. So, but Will said, what Will here? So Will said, I have found it doesn't work that way. You must discover each of them in a different way. It just happens. It would not work for me to just tell you. You might have the information about each of them, but you would not have the insights. You have to discover them in the course of your own life. So why are you going after the ninth insight now? James asked. So he explained, we have to know, we have to experience. So and this is why Will asked at the beginning, have you understood the both insights? So means unless we understand, unless we take into that insight completely into us, then we can get connected to the other insights. So, okay, and this is all we have to experience that. This is not just saying, we have to experience, we have to implement that insights. So next he says, Jim continued, said, why are you going for the ninth insight now? James asked. It's the right time, Will said. Because why James' question is, because outside it is very dangerous, and also Jim has experienced the danger. So is it so in his thoughts, he's thinking that is it necessary right now to go in search of ninth insight? Because there is so much of danger is outside. So this is why he questioned Wilson. And Will said, it's the right time. I have been a guide here and I know the terrain and I understand all 8 insights. When I was at my window over the alley thinking of Joe's, I had already decided to go north one more time. The ninth insight is out there. I know it. And I am not getting any anger. Besides, I have envisioned myself finding it and achieving what it says. I know it is the most important of the nine insights. It's put all the others into perspective and gives us the true purpose of life. He paused suddenly, looking serious, and said, I would have left 30 minutes earlier, but I had this nagging feeling that I have forgotten something. That is precisely when you showed up. This is how when he is thinking there at the place, at the hotel, near the hotel, he's thinking about his friend Joe's, and suddenly he saw James running in the streets. So he felt like he has to help him. That means he already said he know 8 insights. So some connection feeling he felt. So James started to think about his decision. So, okay, now the Wilson is going to in search of 9th insights. Then what about me? He said, I have to experience this. Am I going to stay here or I'm going to leave? So what is his decision? So whether to pursue or not. In a confusion state, he asked Wilson to clear his doubt. Because we ask, right? So give suggestion, or if at all we are in a confusion state, we try to get help from others. So when he asked her, so please give suggest, so what I have to do now? But Will said he himself has to decide. So Will said, James, you have to decide you by yourself. You have to decide. So James started to think about all his Peruvian trip, the coincidences of meeting different people, Charlene, Dobson, and now Will. And the strangest thing of all was that at that moment, instead of being terrified, totally panicked, he found himself in a state of excitement. That means he is aware of his emotions, right? He summoned all his wits and instinct to find a way, but what he really wanted to do to go with Will into what would undoubtedly be more danger. Going with Will is more danger, even more danger. But he considered all his options. He realized that in reality, he had no choice. So he can't go now. He can't go to the embassy. Even going to the embassy is also a bit danger for him. So James said to himself, the second insight had ended my possibility of going back to my old preoccupations. If I was going to stay aware, I had to go forward. And finally said to Will about his decision to stay. So he said to Will, so Will, I'm going to stay here. So this is what all happened, masters. So in the second session, in the next session, we will know how he is going to know about the third insight and his adventurous journey. So anyway, Will is going to leave, and James has to know all the insight by himself. And what is the connection? Wilson said about the connection with the energy. So what is the connection with the energy? Will mentioned about how can we connect and a matter of energy. It's a third insight. We will look into that in coming sessions, masters. Right. So here it's all about what the connection between the energy and how these two people, how Will is aware and the feeling feeling and also being confident in his intuition. So he's very much confident, and also he mentioned about the second insight. James has said the preoccupation. He has changed the preoccupation of his mind. Means here I would like to share Parvati Mata message. So what Parvati Mata has shared is, see, you have to bring changes in your consciousness. So wherever your consciousness is present, you have to upgrade that. It means you have to build up, and also you have to change the previous behavior. So wherever we are connected, so whatever we are doing, we have to be better than yesterday, better than next minute, before minute, so past minute. That means, for example, if we are like some situation happen repetition, so some situation repeats in our life. So how I behaved past and how I'm going to behave now. So this is what upgrading ourselves, evolving means. That means bringing our consciousness back, bringing the changes in us, bringing the change in our thoughts. Then second insight is evolution of thought. So what I have done before and what I'm going to do now. So everywhere, wherever your connection, wherever your consciousness is present, we have to bring change in that consciousness. So though we are cleaning the house, so how I did last time, and now what I am going to do. It means for me, so when I'm experiencing, when I'm trying to implement that insight, what Parvati Mata has shared. So usually I used to rush, I used to clean hurriedly, I used to clean without any connection. So in my mind, I used to think I have to complete this work. But next time, what I did recently is, when I'm cleaning, I started to connect with the things, what I'm cleaning. So I started to connect. When I started to connect with the things, then something different I have experienced that I can't express, but something different in me, so which made me so happy, right? So this is what Parvati Mata has shared. So bring consciousness. That means shift in our thought, shift in our being. And recently, yesterday, means, yeah, day before yesterday, received a message from Buddha. So what he said is, whenever in every situation, you have to replace yourself, the higher with the enlightened master. So in every situation, what the master did, what the enlightened master did, for example, what Patrisar will do in this situation, what the Buddha did. So what Parvati Mata, what in untold story of Sita, what Sita Mata has behaved. So in cooking food, everything. So everywhere, in every situation, he said, you have to replace yourself with the higher master, with the enlightened master. So automatically, you will become that master. That means without any awareness, without any effort, we are becoming them. So yeah, this is what all about the evolution of our thoughts and of our being. Here we should not force masters. We have to slowly, with patience and slowly. This is not a change of happiness. This is not going to happen in a moment or in a day or overnight. We have to practice and practice with patience. So thank you so much for being for so long from here. So if at all you want to share, you can unmute yourself. Thank you, Nandini ji. All right. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, Sharda. It was a beautiful meditation, and then the story of Celestine prophecy as well. Very, very nicely, you are taking us through the storyline, and the way you are connecting even messages from Thousand Seeds of Joy, Parvati Mata, to that which we are listening in this. It's very nice. So thank you. And for me, what comes is as well, the journey of truth is the journey of the masters, and it needs a lot of courage. You see, even in the story, how much courage with how much courage he is moving ahead. Yes, once we decide to take that path of truth, there will always be leads, there will always be confirmations, there will always be help. However, it is to us to decide, yes, I'm going to take this path. And once we take that path, whatever challenges that are coming through, there would always be even a guidance, there would always be even a support in that journey. And so it's the path of courage. It's the path that we are all walking through. Yes, we are all in the end very simple, normal human beings. However, we have decided that I would like to change for myself. I would like to see a different depth to the things that are happening in our own lives. So that desire itself in itself will lead us to a different way of looking at things and experience life in a completely different way, like the insights that we are slowly learning through this storyline. So thanks a lot, Sharda Garu.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, definitely. It's yes, it's a different side, isn't it? I didn't notice. Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting. There's a courage. How James and even Wilson, he got to know 8 insights. How courageously he stepped out, and yes, automatically the door opens. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Anyone would like to share, masters? So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for your taking part in this journey, book journey. So let's all meet the next session.